Hello there, guys. This is OMG Squirrel, also known as Josh Chichester here, and welcome to the World of Warcraft lore lesson number 28. Today, we will be talking about the Old Gods. Nobody really remembers how Azeroth came to be, yet legends persist that the Titans had traveled to the newly formed world, shaping the land and first seeding it with life. Beings such as the Earthen were then created by the Pantheon to complete the mighty works the Titans had begun, and to prepare Azeroth for the first time when it would give birth to the first mortal creatures. After the Titans had departed from Azeroth, however, a great calamity befell the young world. From the endless void of the universe, unspeakable terrors known only as the Old Gods came. The world buckled to its foundation under dire power, unimaginable, and the elements were thrown into such a great disorder that Azeroth degenerated back to a state of primordial chaos, atrophy, and destruction. A world where no life could ever form or exist. The creations of the Titans were too subjugated by the Old Gods, becoming afflicted with the curse of flesh. The elements that comprised the world had become as the dark pawns of the Old Gods, and the Titans' creations had either been destroyed or were suffering a far worse fate. When the Titans discovered what transpired upon their youngest seedling, they made their return. The Pantheon struck down the four elemental lords, who were devastating the world and shattered the Old Gods' citadels, which caused the greatest battle Azeroth would ever know to erupt. One by one, the Old Gods were defeated and sequestered, but from this great siege between the gods, there's a rumor of a Titan having fallen echoes across the ages. The Curse of Flesh had grown so malign, however, that it had symbiotically bound the infant world to the Old Gods, and their destruction would have ensured the annihilation of Azeroth. But instead, the Pantheon neutralized the power of the Old Gods and sealed the entities away within the depths of the world for the remainder of its existence. After the Old Gods were contained and their elemental servants banished, the spirits of the elements again settled into balance, and Azeroth's ability to birth and sustain life returned. The Titans reseeded the world and recreated the Earthen, and empowered defensive measures such as the Titanic Watchers and the Dragon aspects. They then departed from the world anew, leaving Azeroth to once again await the awakening of the first mortal beings. In the novel The Sundering, it is hinted that the Old Gods are more powerful than the Titans, including even Sargeras. It is said that they are extremely powerful, and that the combined might of many Titans are required to subdue them. It is also stated that if they are freed, even Sargeras will plead for peace of death. This is further supported by their statement that little effort is needed to destroy Sargeras, and turn his burning legion into their minions. Since the dawn of life on Azeroth, the imprisoned and sleeping Old Gods have been whispering to the subconsciousness of mortal and eternal beings alike, subverting their thoughts and feelings and sometimes driving them to great malice, complete insanity, or both. The most notorious and tragic victim of the Old Whisperings is Neltharion the Earthwarder, the once mighty dragon aspect who had been empowered by the Titan Khaz'goroth with dominion over the deep places of the earth. Yet not even Neltharion's great wisdom and power proved capable of breaking the grip the Old Whisperings had on his mind, causing the Earthwarder to eventually lose all his sanity. Neltharion renamed himself Deathwing, seeking the genocide of all non-draconic life on Azeroth, as well as the enslavement of the other dragonflights. Malfurion, Stormrage, and Verothen momentarily heard the Whisperings when they held the demon soul within their grasp. Malfurion has since stated that Ysera's noble brood has fallen victim to the Old Whisperings as well. The highborn Queen Azshara is said to have heard the Whisperings moments before what would have been her death, causing her and her highborn people to transform into the monstrous Naga, an offer they either accepted willingly to avoid their fate or which has been coerced upon them. The remainder of her surviving highborn who made landfall in the Tristful Glades are rumored to have succumbed to insanity after hearing these same Whisperings. The most striking historic account of the Old Whisperings, however, is found within the ancient scrolls of lore of the Tauren, located in their capital city of Thunderbluff at Elder Rise. The legend of creation of the formerly nomadic Tauren tribes makes a direct reference to the Whisperings, stating that the first incidents of Tauren committing acts of deceit, murder, or warfare were because their early brethren hearkened to the dark whispers from the deep beneath the world. During the War of the Ancients, the Old Gods corrupted the great benevolent dragon aspect Neltharion to create for them the extremely powerful Demon Soul, which they empowered as well to have Sargeras use to unintentionally set them free. The Demon Soul was taken from Neltharion by Malfurion, then taken from him by Illidan, and put in the Sargeras summoning matrix, then taken back by Neltharion, who shortly thereafter was struck away by the Old Gods, who wished to have the summoning completed for once. Malfurion picked up the Demon Soul after Neltharion dropped it, and used it, in conjunction with Illidan, to prevent Sargeras' entry. It was then given to the dragons, stolen by Necros 10,000 years later, taken back by the dragons, and finally destroyed. 10,000 years later, the old gods invaded Nosdormu's realm and managed to open a rift in time that, as they had planned, tossed some beings back through time. Beings that would change the way the War of the Ancients took place and give Sargeras a new chance to enter the world, and therefore give them a new chance to set themselves free. Their plans were all though again crushed by the very same Malfurion storm rage. Here's a fun fact for you. Did you know that the Blackfathom Deeps in Ashenvale was once long ago a temple to Elune? The Great Sundering ruined the temple and left it submerged in water and buried under rock. Corruption from the old gods seeped up and tainted the sacred Moonwell. One may be in the Blackfathom Deeps. Hints that old gods lie in or under the Blackfathom Deeps, not to be confused with Akumai, who was only influenced by the powers of the old gods. Sometime between the Third War and the reopening of the Dark Portal, Cthulhu awoke completely and was able to physically return to Azeroth in the ruins of Ahn'Qiraj. Packs of brave heroes marshaled outside the Great Qiraj Gates, tore them down, and slew the old god. At some point during his stewardship of Ulduar, Loken came under the sway of Yogg-Saron, imprisoned within and eventually betrayed both the Pantheon and his own brother, Thorim. He resides in Ulduar's Halls of Lightning, seeking to free Yogg-Saron completely and bring down the Pantheon. During the crusade against the Lich King in Northrend, this came to the attention of the Kirin Tor, who recruited adventurers from the Alliance and the Horde to lay siege to Ulduar. They were victorious, and Yogg-Saron was defeated. According to Malfurion Stormrage, one of the old gods is behind the nightmare corrupting the Emerald Dream. Although the Nightmare Lord in the dream turned out to be the Satyr Lord Xavius, it is suspected that he was working for higher powers. Thanks for watching this lore lesson. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe, and most importantly, give feedback on what you think and what you would like to see in the next episode.